Hey everyone, my name is Devin Moreno and I'm here showing you my house here in Baltimore City that I did a full gut renovation on. It's actually all new start to finish, everything. And what I want to do is break down the numbers on this house, everything that I spent to get this renovated. So just so you're aware, this is a 2-bed, 1-bath house. It's actually pretty small, kind of more around 1,200 square feet. So it's not really that big, to be honest, but reasonably I found in a lot of my cost estimations that size doesn't make an impact on most of the stuff. I mean, barring certain sizes where you need 2 HVAC systems to cover it, most of the time your plumbing costs are going to remain relatively similar and your electric is going to be relatively similar. It's really only flooring, painting, and drywall that start to expand with the cost of square footage. But I'm going to go into that. So essentially, let's go ahead and break this down. Like I said, it was a full gut. Here's some photos of what it looked like before. You're gonna see that this wall that divided behind me, and you're gonna see this nasty kitchen and everything. So here, as we're seeing it in now, modern times, I guess you could say, the only thing that hasn't been put in place is the washer and dryer, stackable washer and dryer, which we just kind of staged here in the kitchen. But I'm gonna go ahead and show it to you. So first off, let's talk about the HVAC. We actually installed a new HVAC system, ran the ducts and all of that. This ended up costing us $7,000. So generally the price range that I found for a brand new furnace, and you're gonna see in here, we did a brand new furnace essentially, and it just, we ended up running ducts all over the place. Most of the time the units are about 1,500, and then the actual, the AC condenser unit is another 2,000, and then you have the ductwork and the labor and all that. It ends up being about $7,000. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you over here into the kitchen. We will eventually have to replace that water heater that you saw. It's a little old. That's gonna cost us $1,000. You're talking about most about $400, $450 for the actual water heater itself, and then the parts, the expansion tank and everything else, adding an extra 200, then the rest is really labor. So here we got a washing machine. We actually ended up getting it brand new. A lot of times I often talk about getting used appliances. However, for these washer and dryers and stuff like that, anything that kind of breaks tends to break a lot. I prefer to get it new because they are going to go through a lot more wear and tear. But other things, maybe a fridge and stuff, is also something I usually will get a little bit newer. All right, scratch and dent, by the way. When I say new, a lot of times these models are scratch and dent models. You're talking about a scratch and dent fridge, cost me about $600, $800 on the high end. Scratch and dent, one of these, you're talking about probably $800 for that, for the washer and dryer. And then things like a dishwasher I usually avoid, but this neighborhood is a little higher end. So bringing you around here, we're talking about cabinets. A lot of times I like to estimate the cabinets to be ish around $250 to $300 a cabinet. Keep in mind I'm talking about white shaker cabinets. This isn't the shaker design, but it's close to it. But basically, some of them are going to be $180. Some of them, like the base sink cabinet, is going to be like $300. So it's kind of around the $250 number. So in a lot of my estimations, I just count how many cabinets I need to do, and I just multiply that by about $250, let's say. So this stove, $500, scratch and dent, once again. Everything else pretty easy. Granite countertops for this size, I spent about, it was $1,500 for install. It does come with the sink, and then they just install this all over the place, and that's pretty much it. The counter size really doesn't matter after they already have to pull a slab, so you have to have a significantly larger counter size for it to start hitting that 2,000 range. So that's pretty much it. Other than that, we have the flooring. So the flooring itself is going to cost you about, it costs me generally all together, let's say $3 a square foot. Let's break it down to math. Essentially, I use the rustic oak vinyl planking, and you can see it here, what this kind of looks like with the floor and everything else. But essentially, I use this one. This is $169, all right, per plank. And then I have to get the insulation, which is about $15 per 100 feet roll. All right, so I get that, and that generally makes it about $179 a square foot if you want to think of it that way. And then the labor is usually about somewhere around $150. So a little over $3 a square foot. Some will install it for $1 a square foot, but generally about $1.50 is what you're looking for. If you get a slightly more expensive contractor, some of them will charge $2. And then if it's any higher than that, you probably want to shop around a little bit. So that's what that ended up costing me. I'm going to show you this addition that we ended up building. So in here, We ended up building this around the backyard, and we can show you here in the backyard where, we gave a little, and I'm going to show you that kind of area, but essentially, as you're kind of looking around here, you see we ended up doing a new electric panel and rewiring the house. Rewiring and all the electric and everything cost us $7,000 all up together. And essentially that did include getting a new panel to put together. We ended up putting this little wall heater in here because the addition was later, so we didn't want to punch through this brick. This is actually the end of the house with the ductwork, so just figured, you know what, set up a wall heater. This is a storage room anyway. This is where we're going to be putting the washer and dryer. All the plumbing cost us about $6,500 to replumb this house. Now remember, we're talking about, $6,000. So we're talking about 1 bathroom, 1 kitchen. A lot of times the plumbers will base their costs on how many bathrooms, how many full bathrooms you have, how many kitchens, and are you installing little things like, a washer and dryer, and where is that going? And then gas lines, because your plumbers are going to be responsible for the gas lines as well. So those are estimating a lot of their costs. So I'm not going to end up taking you outside because really there's not a lot out there. It's just concrete. But I can take you upstairs. So here's where you're seeing the 2-bed, 1-bath. This looks crazy different from what we had before. So you're now seeing a lot of this bathroom renovation design where we actually use this tile on the walls and the floors. This helps keep it consistent. We also ended up using just a standard tub, standard vanities. A lot of the stuff, I usually get the same exact thing over and over again. And then here in these bedrooms, we do a pretty consistent design. Now, normally I would not recommend doing carpet. Normally we end up doing luxury vinyl planking the floors. Now, this is the one variation we do between our flips and our rentals. So normally for rentals, we do luxury vinyl planking, but for flips, we do carpet because it's cheaper and you don't have to fix all the imperfections in the floor. So originally, we were going to sell this. And in fact, if you watch an older video, we're going to wholesale it, which is basically we buy it, gut it, and then sell it to another investor. In this case, we ended up renovating the whole house and put it up for the market. Now, we did get an offer. But while we were in the selling process, we decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and keep this as a rental because it still cash flows as a rental too. So we can easily hold it as a normal rental. You can easily hold it as and sell it later as a flip and still make plenty of profit on that, actually well over 50K. So now it's all carpeted. That carpet cost me for this house. We did the staircase, 2 bedrooms, hallway, and then this bedroom here. Cost me $2,000. It is a lot cheaper to do that, a lot quicker than your actual luxury vinyl planking. And then everything else just kind of writes itself. We essentially use the standard nickel fixtures. What I would always recommend to you is always use the same stuff. You don't want to start turning this into HGTV and getting into fancy remodels and such. We always use the same paint. That's agreeable gray paint. Same paint every single time. It's actually a Sherwin-Williams brand, and but you can find Behr paint at the Home Depot. And then we end up using nickel finishes on almost all our products. We always get the same lights. So this is a child bedroom, so we always, for a child bedroom, use the same type of light fixture, and ceiling fans in the master bedroom, the same type, so our contractors always know to use the same thing over and over again. And that keeps everything really easy for them to work with. So other than that, we didn't do any work on the roof, and that was pretty much it. It's actually a pretty small house. No point in going to the other bedroom since it's basically the same thing. But let me know if you have any questions on these type of cost breakdowns. I'll be showing you future cost breakdowns where I go into how I analyze the numbers on this and why this house ended up working out so well for me. This house, all of them together, ended up costing me about $56,000 before that addition, and that addition cost me another $5,000. All right, so all in on that, and that easily made this work out pretty well. You're talking about an $80,000 purchase price and an ARV of $220,000, so we're totally fine on our numbers, and basically now we just hold it and wait to sell it later if we want to. So let me know if you have any questions, comment below, and I'll talk to you all very soon.